My name is Erin Boswell, and I will be speaking on behalf of my mother, Margot Thompson. Chad was a very sweet child. He was very quick to be sorry and always tried to be good. Chad was the youngest, so everyone loved him. As a young man, he was very athletic and did a lot of outdoor sports, like biking and climbing and even a little bit of surfing. To be stricken with the disease, it took away all of that. It's pretty remarkable that he didn't become bitter, given all that he lost in his abilities to do so many different things. When Chad got to BYU, Hawaii, he was so excited to be there, but he wasn't feeling well, so he went to the doctor, and they decided to do some blood tests, thinking that he might have mono. The doctor called him and told him that they wished he had mono, but that he had leukemia. They started the induction therapy, that's what they call it. It's the first month of chemotherapy, and after that, he was accepted to UCSF. He kind of liked that because all of the nurses there were young, and that made him feel happy. They were like his friends. Chad was in and out of the hospital for 9 months during his chemotherapy. 2 weeks before he was finished, he relapsed and had to have a bone marrow transplant. He developed GVH, graft versus host disease, of the skin, and as it began scarring down, everything hurt tremendously. Riding in a car, every bump we went over hurt his skin. We had an air mattress in the car, and he would sit on top of that with a blanket. When I was helping him in and out of the car or into the wheelchair, he'd kind of be irritable because, well, everything hurt. I was the only one there for him, and so he would take it out on me as far as being irritated or angry. One time when he got out of the hospital, he had been pretty ill, and we stayed in San Francisco in a hotel room for 10 days. Every night, we'd be dressing all of these wounds on his back, and we'd be up till 1 or 2 in the morning putting on all these bandages. It was a very long process. I was so exhausted that one night we both went to sleep around 3 and didn't wake up until 7. He woke up with a fever. It was like 104, and he had to be rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. His blood pressure dropped so low that he had full-blown sepsis. I think that was the first time he realized that he could die, that he was very close. He spent several days in the ICU, then he came home. I had to go home. I was completely exhausted. I was a nervous wreck because of the sleep deprivation and him always being irritated. In January of 2013, he got RSV. At the end of that, he couldn't walk anymore. He was so weakened that he was pretty much bedridden. He came home from the hospital in February, and they ran one more chemotherapy for about 6 weeks. Nothing was making a difference at that point. It was then that he realized that he was getting better to go home and lay in bed, be in pain, eventually get sick, and go back to the hospital. He wasn't afraid to die anymore. Everything changed. He wasn't angry or irritable. It was like his spirit had softened. He had more company in that last 4 months than he had in previous years. He was so grateful when these friends and family came. He was really grateful when I came. At the end of May, he made the decision to go on hospice. He lived almost 2 weeks after that. The thing that affected me the most was worrying about him being ready to meet his Maker because of the anger that was in his heart. In the end, he was just so grateful to everyone that had helped him. He never complained, why me? He just accepted that this was his lot. In the end, he didn't fear death anymore and felt ready to meet the Lord. The greatest impact that had for me was that I saw the change in him. I had confidence that he was ready to meet the Lord and that all would be well for him. It has made me more aware of medical things, and also aware that your life can change in a moment. Chad's life changed in a moment, and when his life changed, mine did too. I think any kind of disease, when it strikes, changes a person's life. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had to spend time with my youngest son. Knowing that every moment could be his last made every minute, every second more precious. We don't appreciate our life until we lose portions of it. just having gone through that experience makes you appreciate good health and the freedom to live your life how you want to, and not be limited by anything.